Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I'm always delighted to have actually two great guys on, people that I really enjoy visiting with. My friend Kent Batman, he comes on every week with what we call the Energy Corridor segment that we do. And Kevin Brady, who's been on the program so many times, Congressman Brady, that I'm not even sure how many times you've been on, but it's always a delight. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, Kevin, how are you doing?
Doing great. Glad to have you both on the program. Congressman, you recently let us know about this new working group that was set up to deal with energy-related issues, and I believe it's for the House Ways and Means Committee. That's what we want to talk about with you on today's segment with you. Before we do that, though, I want to have Kent Batman introduce himself and talk real quickly about Vicam EcoFluids, which brings us this segment. Kent?
Yes, Vicam EcoFluids makes biodegradable drilling fluids, and our office is right down the road from the Congressman's office in Conroe, by the way.
There you go. There you go.
Kevin Brady was the best congressman I've ever had. Thank you, Congressman.
Kent, you're kind, but I tell you what, you've been such a great leader in Southeast Texas and such a good friend. We're going to miss you, but we're going to keep working on energy stuff together.
Yep.
Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah, redistricting, I guess, gave you a new congressman, Kent?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
All right. So let's talk real quickly about this new working group. You know, and it's not unusual for the Congress to make another group, another organization, and that type of thing. They like to do that a lot. But what exactly does a working group mean? We're used to various committees and subcommittees and various things like that. How does a so-called working group function, Congressman?
Yeah, Kevin, in this case, it means that Ways and Means is intensifying its effort to fundamentally reform the tax code this year. We've already held, over the last 2 years, 20 hearings on the need for fundamental reform, the complexity, the fact that we're just no longer competitive with the rest of the world. We've released 2 drafts of fundamental reform on the business side and on financial services. But what this means is Dave Camp has broken out some of the key areas of tax reform, some perhaps are the most contentious, and said, look, we want you to work with a Democrat on Ways and Means Committee, identify the key questions and issues dealing with this area, and report back to us soon, April 15th. And so what I'm going to do is, what it means is I'm going to outline in 5 categories the key tax provisions we have today and the key questions we ought to be asking ourselves as we move forward. And obviously, with energy, I think that having affordable energy from a wide variety of sources, market-driven, without the tax code picking winners and losers, is really key going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, so the Ways and Means Committee, for those who aren't familiar, that's the tax writing committee of the House of Representatives, arguably the most important committee, especially when it comes to your wallet in the Congress. Kent, you got a question?
Well, yeah. Is it purely with taxes, Congressman, or will you be dealing with regulations, environmental things, that kind of stuff?
We're going to focus, Kent, mainly on taxes. Obviously, and expiration is one key area. Distribution is another one. Renewables is a third. Consumption, of course, is another key one as well. So we're going to actually break out what's the tax code say in those areas right now, and what ought they say, especially if energy today is a huge part of the economy. After individual taxes, the second largest writer of checks to the federal government, yet energy pays a dramatically higher effective tax rate, about 40% compared to the average industry, which is about 25%, and we're falling behind in our ability to compete around the world as well. So all those factors, especially cost of capital, as you know, Kent, whether you're a startup or whether you're an established energy company, capital matters and the cost of that matters. And so that recovery effort, those issues there in the tax code, that's going to be a special focus of mine.
Yeah. So when, if you were to prioritize, what's the biggest issue that you're concerned about, maybe the top 3 that you really want to target?
Well, 2 things. One, I don't want energy of any type singled out for punishment in the tax code, which is sort of what this president wants to do right now. I think that's a huge economic mistake. And secondly, cost of capital is really key to a capital-intensive industry like energy. Again, it doesn't matter which part of it you're dealing with, from pipelines to oil and natural gas to renewables, it matters. And so I want to make sure the tax code that recognizes the capital, those investments are key.
Yeah. Kent?
Well, excellent. Glad you're doing it, Congressman. No, nobody better.
Well, thanks. And is there some areas, Kent, we ought to be looking at in the tax code as we examine it here in the next week or a month and a half?
Well, I tell you, I'd like to think about this and come by your office.
Okay.
I'm excited to hear you looking at it.
Great. Let's do that.
So let me ask you then, obviously the big concern is, and it's a great mandate. It's great that you guys are working on it and continually need to do it. And the reality is as long as a company is into black, the reality is that consumers in the end are the ones who are paying for these tax increases. All it is an encumbrance for the businesses to be competitive. And that's my whole problem with taxing businesses in the first place. It's an intellectually dishonest system.
Well, it is a way to hide the true cost of taxes on consumers because, yes, it does get passed through. It also has a big impact on our economies and jobs as well. And so you're right from that standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. So, passing this, say you come back with a strong agenda, I think it's likely to pass the House. I guess if nothing else, even if you can't get it through the Senate, you've got referendum issues for the next election cycle, which I think are very important, Congressman.
Yeah, they really are. And, we don't know if the president would be a serious partner, would be even willing to sit down at the table, stay at the table till we can fix this tax code. What we do know, though, is other countries are taking a page from our playbook. They now have lower taxes, simpler tax codes than we do. They're beating us around the head with it. We now have the highest corporate tax rate in the world, and it's so complex here at home for companies that we're spending 1% to 2% of our entire economy just complying with the tax code. And so what our goal is, lower rates through a simpler tax code that makes us more competitive as well here and home and abroad. I think that can get done, but one thing I worry, and I'll finish talking with this, the president likes to single out like energy taxes as subsidies, likes to single out our industry for loopholes, which one, he's wrong, but two, we're going to close loopholes. That isn't the question. The question is, do we close loopholes to spend more money so the president can spend more money, or are we going to close loopholes so we can lower rates for families and businesses? We say, let's lower the rates.
Yeah, interesting. By the way, Kent Batman's company, Vichem Eco Fluids, is Vichem ECO Fluids.com. Kent, you want to give us our last comment or question before I wrap it up with the Congressman?
Well, I just want to say, Congressman, once again, we've always appreciated your efforts. Good to see you leading this effort.
Thanks, Ken.
Good luck getting it through this administration.
I know that. Well, yeah. We're going to need your help and advice as we go forward on this thing.
Well, and for whatever reason, historically, Republicans have been a little sheepish about creating these referendum issues, and that's the one thing they have been doing that I can give high marks for, is creating a lot of referendum issues that are great reminders when you go into the next election cycle. And so I say, go for it. That's great.
Thanks. Well, people, I know there's difference between two parties up there as they vote. And truthfully, if there's common ground, if there's a way to actually find a better, simpler, lower rate tax code, we ought to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah, and more transparent, more honest tax code. I don't like the idea of businesses paying taxes, to be perfectly honest with you, because they really don't pay taxes. They're tax collectors, is what they are. And when you put them in that role, they become less competitive, which is why they leave and go to other countries so they can be more competitive.
I think you're right. Just about for the record, I'm one of the few co-sponsors of the fair tax. I actually think if you're going to reform the tax code, a simple retail sales tax is the most honest and the one that drives the economy the most. But that's still a little bold for most people up there.
Yeah, but you know what? That will make an unusually aware electorate. If you do that, you'll have an unusually aware electorate, which is exactly what America needs. We got too many people sleeping. Thanks, Congressman Kevin Brady and Kent Batman. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Kent.
Always enjoy it. All right, when we come back, much more for you. We want to encourage you to stay tuned to it right here on The Price of Business.